Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, well-known radio sports personality, Bruce McGowan.
A pleasure being here.
And Vern Glenn of CBS affiliate KPIX-TV in San Francisco.
What do you say, kids?
Okay, today's show is going to be really special because we have Hall of Famer Bob St. Clair.
No.
Yes.
Number 79?
Number 79.
Scary because I say it's scary because I remember seeing him play when I was a little kid, and he was a good player. Oh my
was
God.
that when the ball was round?
It was actually kind of, it wasn't round. No, it wasn't.
I'm just teasing you.
6'7" rocket. He is still solid.
263 pounds.
Big man. I mean, by today's standards, that's big, but in those days, it was a giant.
It's a whole lot of man.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I said before, it reminds me of the movie The Longest Yard.
There you go.
We'll get into that a little bit later. At each commercial break, we're going to be asking a sports trivia question. We're giving away 3 vacations. To the first 3 emails with the correct answer, and the vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina. And the vacations are free. Their only request is a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. You can listen to Sports Econ 101 on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Sports Byline USA, and CRN, amongst other many terrestrial stations. And today's trivia theme is Baseball Rookies of the Year.
Ooh.
So we're going to have some fun with that.
Yeah.
One of these questions is one you're going to go, no, that's not true. I can't believe it.
Which one?
The middle one. The second question. We already covered this one. Okay. So let's see what we got here. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding 8% or more secured by real estate. It doesn't get any more conservative than that. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. If you have any questions, you can email Edward at sportsecon101.com. We'll answer them on the air. And don't touch that dial because you're listening to Sports Econ 101.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Seriously, don't touch it. When we come back,
Stay with us. Who
are we going to have
Hey,
on?
Berg, Wichita. Don't.
Don't do it.
It's like
Don't make
Homer
me
Simpson.
come over there.
Stay tuned. Bob Sinclair will be with us when we get back. Let's see. He always tells me, get to the point.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You guys ready? Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn.
Me, Vern, you, Edward, and Bruce.
There's a reason for that. We'll get into it just for a minute. And Bruce McGowan.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Now, we have on the phone a pro football Hall of Famer from, I don't want to say the old days, but let's say pre-1970. How's that? Bob St. Clair played his entire career with the 49ers. And Bob, you know what? First thing I want to do is get into that story of you potentially, or you almost were Tarzan because Vern came in with the Meet Tarzan Eugene.
Wait, before we get going, we should mention not only did he have his whole NFL career in the Bay Area, he played all of his football in the Bay Area, high school, college.
Except one year he went to Tulsa to finish up when San Francisco got rid of it. But yeah, for the most
part. That's for another story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is quite a story, Bob. So now, how did you get to become almost Tarzan? How does that happen?
Well, a reporter from the Call Bulletin in San Francisco, when Johnny Weissmuller retired as Tarzan, and he sent my name down and sent a couple of clips down and so forth of me. And what happened was they called us down, and I had to go through a test back in the Paramount studio back in the jungle set they had back there. And I was doing everything pretty well, climbing the trees, swinging, and fighting a fake crocodiles, and all of that kind of stuff. And the only thing was that they had me sitting there alongside Cheetah, the monkey, and he had such bad breath, and I tried not to frown or anything. They kept saying, smile, smile. And then
look at this monkey.
The last scene they had that had me do was I'm running through the jungle, jump over a log, come into this fierce native compound, and they've got ready to burn Jane at the stake. And I come in there and pound my chest and go, like the Tarzan. And anyway, they thought, that was the end. They called us back in 1 week. Everything was going real good in the looking at it, and on the screen, and everybody started laughing at the last scene when all these so-called fierce natives with rings in their nose and all, with their spears. He looks like little kids, like little pygmies all around me. Because I was 6'7.5", almost 6'8" at the time, and so I came within inches of becoming the next Tarzan after Johnny Weissmuller.
But,
so you were just too
tall? Yeah, too tall. They could have just had you hunch over. You're kind of supposed to be sort of an ape man, right?
Well, then he would look like Igor.
They built trenches for me to walk in.
Trenches.
Like they did with Alan Ladd a lot.
That's a true story, by the way. Alan Ladd, they did dig a trench for the leading lady so she wouldn't tower over him because he was only like 5'3" or 5'4".
Yeah.
What's the matter with being 5'3"?
Nothing at all.
Nothing wrong. See, we always tease Vern because Vern is short. I'm tall, so I always tell Vern, I said, Vern, you and I are the only normal people around here.
That's
Everybody
right.
else is
He calls it height challenge.
Darn straight.
Yeah.
But how tall is Johnny Weissmuller? It's got to be 6'2", right?
Johnny Weissmuller about 6'2", Bob?
Yeah, he was about 6'2".
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Former Olympian.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because this is one of the notes I was taking that in watching some of the old clips with Bob, because back in those days there weren't too many guys who were 6'9", right?
Right.
It kind of reminds me of watching the movie The Longest Yard when Samson, played by Richard Kiel now, he's 7'1", but still, remember how he just kind of towers over everyone? It's just kind of that kind of reminds me of you.
Well, the thing about Bob was I remember because I got to see him play a few times. I was a little kid when Bob was in his heyday back in the 50s and early 60s, and Bob. You got your. Tell us the story about how you got your teeth knocked out once, because that was.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Yeah, tell us that one because that's kind of what happened in those days because they didn't have mouth guards. They didn't have a lot of players didn't even have face masks.
No, we didn't have face masks until about 1956. Before that, I was in the year of 1940. I think, 1955, I believe it was. I blocked. There were only 12 teams in the league, and we had only 12 games. And what happened was I blocked 10 field goals, 12 games.
10 field goals?
10 field goals in 12 games. And the way I did it, I jumped over the center, and in order to do this. And this one time, it was on a punting situation, and I usually wasted a few of them in the beginning, just running over the center and running with my cleats and then, just chopping him at the butt. And anyway, and then when I'm ready to do it, like to actually center the ball, I would jump over the center, play like I was going to really hit him again like I did the time before, and he would immediately go down on all fours. I was able to jump over, and once I was over him, I would block him. I was able to block. But in this particular case, I got in so quickly this one time that he never had Van Brooklyn in Brooklyn was the punter.
Yeah.
He never had a chance to kick the ball. As he was leaving the ball go to kick it, I leaped at him and knocked the ball with my right hand away from his foot. And as I did, the face went down, and he kicked me in the teeth. And needless to say, it had an adverse effect there for a minute. And I would down on my hands and knees, and I'm mumbling, where's my teeth?
Oh, jeez.
He knocked 5 teeth out in the front of
Wow.
my face, and in those days, they just put cotton in.
Sure.
Cotton was a big commodity. Put cotton in, you played.
Yeah.
Weren't you looking for those teeth? And they were like, Bob, we don't want to call timeout. You got to get in the huddle.
Oh yeah, well, they called timeout. The referees called timeout because I was bleeding so badly, and then put me over to the sideline, shoved cotton in my mouth, and then it was close to halftime, so I played until half, and I went in, and they shot Novocaine all in my upper, where the teeth are there, my upper gums, and put more cotton in, I went out and played.
I would have loved to have been a dentist on the sidelines.
Oh, yeah.
You got a little bad, and so I was choking a lot, bending over trying to, block and stuff. So finally, after the game, the only thing I did before I was able to go to the doctor was, I took a medication. The medication was about 24 screwdrivers.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
man. That was I hate to use the term, it sounds sexist, but that really was truly a man's game in those days, wasn't it, Bob? I mean,
yeah. Unlike these guys today, they break a fingernail and they bring out the damn cart and take them into the dressing room.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. I was asked one time years ago when I went into the Hall of Fame. They asked me, what do you think of today's players? You think you could play with them? They're so big and strong and all that. And my answer was, yeah. I'd give them a couple of stories like that about getting teeth knocked out and playing and all of that. And I said I played both offense and defense. I said, you think these candy asses today could do that? There's no way.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Playing offense and defense. Can you imagine? I'm trying to think of who was your quarterback? It wasn't Y.A. Tittle.
Yeah, it was.
It was? Okay. So it's like I don't know how tall he was, but how did he look over the front line to see you? Okay. Tell you what, hey Pop, stay with us. We're gonna cut to our first commercial break. When we come back, I want to ask you that question again. All right, our theme is baseball rookies of the year. We're in baseball season, so we figured we'd do this one. Okay. In 1964, who was the first rookie in modern-day baseball to win a batting title? All right, the first 3 emails with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to this question. In 1964, who was the first rookie in modern-day baseball to win a batting title? Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back with Hall of Famer Bob St. Clair. All right. Having fun so far?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to say Richie Allen, but he was rookie of the year, but I don't know if he won the batting title, though. He hit over 300.
National League American.
I think it was American.
Okay, so it wasn't Richie Allen.
Could have been Frank Robinson.
Remember Richie Allen, Bob, the guy?
Sure.
Yeah, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, juggling baseballs and smoking a cigarette. I loved it. That was great stuff. And then he was the guy that also spelled out "boo" with his spikes at Connie Mack because the fans were just nasty to him. Yeah, that's. And Jimmy Ray Hart, you remember him when he played with the Giants. Now he was the runner-up to Richie Allen. And the sad thing about Jimmy Ray is that he had a drinking problem and it cut short his career. He would have been a great player. I mean, he was a good player for 5 or 6 years, but he would have been a great player if he stayed away from the booze. But he always said that he needed that booze to relax.
Yeah.
So,
I can imagine.
Yeah. All the tension,
Just like the 12 screwdrivers.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Let's let me get this set up here.
Okay. You still up in Santa Rosa, Bob?
Yes.
All right. Nice area up there.
It is.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and Bruce McGowan.
Touchdown, 49ers.
There you go. We have a lot of those. Okay. First commercial break trivia question. 1964. Who was the first rookie in modern-day baseball to win a batting title?
Well, I picked Richie Allen, but I don't think it was because I have a feeling Richie Allen was Rookie of the Year in the National League, but I don't think he won the batting title.
I'm going to guess Frank Robinson.
No. Okay, and I'm pretty sure he played for the Twins.
Ooh, Tony Oliva?
Tony Oliva.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
See?
yeah.
Okay. We are on the phone with Bob St. Clair, Hall of Famer. Used to play with the 49ers his whole career. And we were talking about, actually, I had asked a question because at 6'9", that's kind of tall to be blocking for your quarterback. How did
but he was a tackle, though. He was over there on the end. So YT could just drop back. Right, Bob?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's the answer to that question.
But the thing about that team, though, that team had what was called the $1 million backfield.
That's right.
With
Hugh McElhaney, Joe the Jet Perry.
Joe the Jet Perry. And then, of course, John Henry Johnson. And
right.
how did he manage to keep all those guys happy? Because they played together for a couple of years.
Yeah, right.
I mean, what did he do to placate them? Because they all probably wanted the ball. I mean, was there a lot of talking about, I want the ball, give me the ball kind of thing?
No, not really, because in those days, it didn't, contracts and the money you made wasn't based basically on how many, runs you made. how many did, and all that kind of stuff. Everybody was only concentrating on what was the best play, that the blocking scheme would work on against a particular team, and what back would be able to carry it better than the other back, that kind of stuff.
So it's a little bit more of a team effort than what you see now. In fact, I was going to ask you, when you're watching football now, when certain plays are going on, I can't stop thinking that you've got to be watching that going, okay, I would do things a little differently here, and,
Especially in the Super Bowl, I was screaming and yelling when we had first and on the 7-yard line.
No, you're talking about a couple of years ago when the Niners were perched on the goal line and are about to beat the Ravens, and Colin Kaepernick throws 4 passes. Unfortunately, none of them were complete.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
All to Michael Crabtree.
I was there.
Oh, you were at that game?
Yeah, they brought me back.
Nice.
I was screaming, score, one. He was averaging 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the first 4 quarters. I said, oh my God.
I don't know why they just didn't have him run.
Well, that's the
or
thing.
an option.
I remember Mike Schumann, who's a good friend of ours who works locally, who played with the Niners back in '81, asked Jim Harbaugh, the coach of the Niners, that very question the next year, and Jim Harbaugh just gave him a stone cold stare and walked away. Did not want to be reminded. I guess it's one of those things. Coaches sometimes make a mistake, and he just got a little.
I think it was too expected.
Yeah,
it seems like it was too expected. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you played, Vernon talked about this earlier, Bob, you played with the University of San Francisco Dons,
Yes.
and they actually were undefeated one year and were invited to go to a bowl game, but you guys couldn't go. What was the reason for that?
Well, 1951, we were undefeated, and we were all happy as hell because the rumor was that we were going to be playing Georgia Tech in the Orange Bowl, and for some, national titles and so forth, the recognition anyway. What happened was, after the last game, we got home, and we thought there'd be a big celebration. We were down in Los Angeles playing Loyola at the time, and there was no one there and everything else because everyone had already found out that we were passed over. And the reason was that there was, we had black players on our team. Earl Toller, who was the referee, and later became a referee, I'm sorry. And he was our linebacker center. And Ollie Matson, who was All-American and All-Pro and in the Hall of Fame and everything. So anyway, the 2 black guys were excluded from the invitation. That you guys can come, but you can't bring the 2 black guys. South of the Mason-Dixon line down in Florida.
Unbelievable.
Actually, we told them to go to hell. We weren't used to that kind of. We were a band of brothers. I mean, come on.
It's weird because they'd already integrated baseball by then.
Well, this is 51.
Yeah, but this is 51, and it was a whole different set of rules.
Yeah, it's only 4 years past. Matter of fact, Bear Bryant didn't integrate the Alabama Crimson Tide until the 70s.
Well, he wanted to.
Yeah.
That's why he scheduled USC to play them at Alabama, and that's when Sam Bam Cunningham ripped the Tide to shreds, and then you saw some integration the next year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Bob, I want to ask you about the idea. This comes up, people interviewing you about eating raw beef. And I was thinking, this is before sushi became style.
Not just raw beef, though. Bob ate raw chicken too, and that goes back to when you were a little kid or something. Bob?
You can get trigonometry that way.
Yeah.
I sense Bob, I sense the dove hunting story coming up.
Oh yeah.
That's another great one.
Go ahead, bring it on.
Well, yeah, ever since I was a little kid, my grandmother was part Indian. She would chop meat for our dinner that night on the shopping block in San Francisco where we lived, and I had a dog named Fluffy, and he would take meat, and chop, and throw a piece to Fluffy in the corner. And I was a little kid. She'd give me a piece, and then he'd throw another piece to Fluffy, and I'd run over and kick the dog out of the way so I could get it. And this went on for many years, and I acquired a real taste for all meat raw, and especially liver. Liver was my favorite.
Oh.
And I didn't eat raw chicken, actually raw chicken. Like last night I had a rare chicken with I like it to where the blood is on the bones and everything.
It's actually better for you, from what I understand. If it's, as long as you're careful. I mean, it actually has more vitamins and is better for you. From what I understand, that's what I've been told.
Well, I'm 83 years old. It doesn't seem to hurt me.
Yeah, you don't ask for it with an extra salmonella, please.
Yeah, but Bob, I mean, liver. I mean, is it the taste? Is it the texture? I mean,
is the protein?
What is it?
Oh, I love the taste.
Oh.
There you go.
I don't think anybody likes the taste of liver.
We used to go dove hunting with a group, and then we'd all shoot all these doves, and then they'd break for lunch, and they'd all be having sandwiches or cooking hot dogs or whatever. And I'd be over at the pile of doves, reaching in and pulling out their hearts and eating it.
Seriously?
To get to them before they coagulated.
Are you?
Had a chance to get cold.
Oh my God! Jeez.
Wait.
That's
So this wasn't it's supposed to be an intimidating thing for the other team. I mean, this is just down with your buddies doing that.
Well, Bob was a big guy, and hey.
Bob wants to eat dove. He eats dove.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Do you still do that?
Oh yeah. If I go, I haven't been hunting in a while, but I love.
That's because all the doves are scared of you. They've heard your reputation, and they scatter.
Oh my God! Here comes St. Clair. Let's fly south now.
I wanted to the story about Tulsa. Though. When I went to Tulsa after USF abandoned football because they didn't have the money after we refused to play in that bowl game. They had to give up the football, as did Santa Clara and all those teams in those years. Anyway, I went back to Tulsa, and I thought I'd be really accepted. I had pre-advertising there that's saying, "Oh, potential All-American is coming here to help the Tulsa Hurricane team," blah blah blah, and all that. But I wasn't. I thought I'd be accepted, and I wasn't because I wasn't one of the good old boys down there. And I was trying to think of a way for a long time getting good with the guys. What happened one day after the football team came up to me and said, "Bob, Golden Gloves are going to be this weekend, and the university doesn't have a heavyweight to represent the university, and we would really appreciate it. We would really be in your debt if you would, be able to do that. And it's only 3 rounds, and it's just a simple thing and so forth." Well, it wasn't quite that simple anyway. I packed up and got ready to go down that night to go to the Civic Auditorium in Tulsa, and I had my little valise and I didn't have anything. The only thing I didn't have bond lead trunks and all that kind of stuff. And what I had was just a red bathing suit. So I brought the red bathing suit with me, and went down there, and they said there'd just be a few people there and everything to watch it. There were 5,000 people in the auditorium, and this was the regionals they had there, and they brought me over there, escorted me over to the dressing room. The guy in there, the head guy in the dressing room said, "Okay, take off your clothes, put your trunks on, and put in your robe and sit outside there, and we'll tell you, we'll get you when your time is." And I looked at him and I said, "Robe? I don't have a robe." And he said, "Well, pick one of these." And I picked this robe. It was, the longest one there, but it still fit me like a mini skirt. It had some red in it, so I said it had at least match the trunks. Anyway.
Oh, hey, Bob, stay. You know what? Stay with us. We want to hear the rest of that story. We got to cut to our next commercial break, or else the station will kill me. But stay with that story for just a minute. Hold on a second. Okay, second commercial break. Trivia question here. Talking about baseball rookies of the year. The Rookie of the Year was first presented in 1947 by Jackie Robinson, right? By the turn of the century, every major league team had at least one Rookie of the Year winner, except for one team. Which team was that? That's a good one.
That's a good question.
Okay, email Edward at sportsecon101.com. The answer to this question. The Rookie of the Year was first presented in 1947. By the turn of the century, every major league team Had at least one. Wait, don't guess it yet. Had at least one Rookie of the Year winner, except for which team? Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back.
Texas Rangers.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bob. What were you?
Oh, I think he was saying he was talking to somebody. Somebody was wondering what he was doing. He was on the phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought he was answering. We had that one time where someone was answering the question a little too quickly there.
So, Bob, when you pick it up, you're getting in that robe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
hang on just a sec. Sorry, we had to
get a
break.
kick out of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sports byline is kind of because it's on Armed Forces Radio. Also, they are very strict about the time that they do.
Believe me,
Hard breaks, all hard breaks.
yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go to those breaks.
Yeah.
That's part of the radio biz. So, Bob, you're going to be heard in places like Iraq and the Far East and wherever we have our servicemen.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
that's great.
I guess we still have quite a few over in the Middle East.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah.
We should have had the whole thing there and stuff, whatever they pulling out like they did was just crazy.
Yeah, the whole thing was nuts. Well, anyway.
Okay, ready? Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown, your host. Vern Glenn.
Let's go.
Co-host. Vern, or Bruce McGowan, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Too many Verns around here. Okay. Second commercial break. Trivia question. The Rookie of the Year was first presented in 1947. By the turn of the century, every Major League team had at least one Rookie of the Year, except for which team?
I'm going to say Texas Rangers.
Yeah, I'm going to agree.
No?
Nope.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
You're
What?
kidding me.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
I wouldn't have thought that either.
I would have thought Clemente or Stargell or,
No, apparently not. Okay. Besides, I just make these things up. No, I'm
Oh.
just kidding.
Oh, that
You're
is
tricking us.
The Seattle Pilots. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
We were on the phone with Hall of Fame football player Bob St. Clair. Bob, you're in the process of talking about doing a heavyweight fight in college in Tulsa, and the robe wasn't long enough and it looked like a mini skirt. Go ahead and finish the story.
I sat outside and started watching the fights, and starting with the featherweights, and boom, the first round, the guy from Tulsa representing the college was knocked out. They kind of walked him by me, and then next one was a lightweight, and he got TKO'd in the first round, and this went on, and then it was the middleweight. At least he finished the 3 rounds and just got the hell beat out of him. And I kept looking at all this, and I said to myself, maybe I made the wrong decision here. Anyway, they got me and they walked me down the aisle and to the ring. And as I got in the ring, I could hear all the people, the murmur of the crowd, saying, "What the hell is that?" And here I am, 6'7" and all of that, and dressed with a little goddamn mini skirt over it looked like. Anyway, I get into the ring and I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know any of the Queensberry rules and all that. I'm sure I fought in Mission Street all the time when I was a kid in San Francisco. Anyway, I go over to my corner, and here are all sitting outside the ring there on the seats below the corner were the majority of the football players from Tulsa. And they were all drinking beer and saying, "Hey, kill him, champ," and laughing like hell, expecting me to get the hell beat out of me and all of that, put me in my place. And so, bell rang and go out in the middle. I was so nervous because I'd never done anything like that before. I never heard a word that the referee said. And the guy I was fighting was the last year's state champion.
Oh, boy.
Had golden gloves on the back of his
Should have asked to do a bare knuckle
robe and all of that. Anyway, bell rings, we come out, and he puts both gloves out in front of him, and as he put the gloves out, I swung and whacked him with a left. Well, there was so much fooling because the referee had told us you're supposed to touch gloves in a sportsman-like thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wasn't used to that kind of Anyway.
Yeah, no gentleman rules in football.
So he's yelling and screaming at the referee.
It's like worldwide wrestling.
And then he says, "Okay, now come on." touch gloves, and we backed away. And we were going around the circle in the ring, and I was waiting for him, start swinging at me and stuff. And I didn't know, and I said, "The hell with it, this is crazy. I'm gonna." So I walked right after him. I walked right through him, and I kept walking. He hit me numerous times. I didn't feel a thing, and I was so pumped up. And I caught him pushed him back into the corner, and as he gave me a little weave in the bob, and a feint, and he went behind me on my right side, I reached out, open glove, grabbed him by the neck, and threw him back into the corner, and I whacked him with a left and knocked the mouthpiece out. He went to go down, I lifted him up under the shoulders, and I hit him again. Fell to his knees, I hit him on top of the head.
I saw that in the Rocky movie.
I kept hitting him on the ground, when he was down, and and someone grabbed in the ring, someone grabbed my right arm, and I swung it back and knocked the referee down.
Wow.
Did they invite you back?
And then what happened was his manager in the corner threw in the white towel. He said, "No way, I'm not gonna. This guy's goofy. He's gonna. If they don't stop him, he's gonna kill that guy. My best fighter." So they put my hand up, and everybody in the auditorium, they were booing and this and that, except the guys in the corner, my football team. They were all cheering and everything. The moral of that little story I told you was, after that, I got in good with the guys.
There you go.
I think they were a little scared, too.
Yeah. Who was the toughest player you played with? I mean, you played against a lot of tough guys, but you had, I always think of Leo the Lion, Leo the Nomalini, who was also a Hall of Famer, defensive lineman. But was he the toughest guy on your team besides yourself, of course?
Well, he was the strongest. No question, the strongest.
He was a wrestler also, wasn't he, in the offseason?
Oh,
Yeah.
He wrestled Luthez for the championship.
Wow.
Bob, what was it like, when you signed your contract? How much did they pay you back in those days? How much?
When I was at Tulsa, and I got the call, Pete Rozelle was then from he was a classmate of ours at USF. And on that USF team, we had 3 of us in the Hall of Fame, including Pete Rozelle, who later he got in the Hall of Fame as a commissioner.
Yeah.
But anyway, when Pete told me, "Don't worry, Bob, we're going to draft you real early from the Rams," and okay, that's fine. I wanted to be back, on the coast, either the Rams or the 49ers. Those were the only 2 teams in those days. What happened was John Arnett was still out there available in the beginning of the 3rd round, which was like the 26th player, and he was available, so they took him. Very next, boom, was the 49ers had. He took me, and I was really, I thought I'd gone to heaven. It was so great.
And what did they pay you?
We got a phone call from Tony Morabito, the owner of the 49ers, and he said, "Bob," he said, you're a hometown boy. You went to school here, high school, college, and now with us. You're a perfect fit. We can't wait to have you help our team, and we're going to give you, as a rookie, a little more money than we do the average rookie. We're going to give you $5,500 for the year."
Wow.
$5,500.
Wow.
And I said, "Mr. Morabito, I'm sorry. I can't accept that. I need $6,000. And the only reason I said that is because the guy next to me was a guard. He went up to Green Bay and got $6,000, and I figured that must have been, that must be the going rate. And I had to hold out for a week, and I just caught hell from my wife. And I, "What, are you crazy? We're going home." And I said, "Just hang in there. So finally, he called me back a week later, and he said, "Listen, St. Clair, we're going to give you the extra $500, but you better be as good as you think you are."
He was a beloved figure too, Tony Morabito. I know he collapsed and died during your a critical game, didn't he, against the Chicago Bears, right in the middle of the game in the stands, right? And you guys found, what was the story on that? Because you guys found out about it somehow, and
Yeah, we were behind at halftime, and then found out and everything. And just, I guess it was, a shot of adrenaline in your system or something. But we all loved Tony. He was like our father. And we came out and we mustered it all together, and we won the game for him.
sounds like something out of Hollywood, but that's what Hollywood movies are made of, true stories like that.
I bet you could still play. The Niners could use you this year. They need someone.
Good size, good technique.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Oh, sure. If they had wheelchairs, it'd be.
Hey, Harris Barton had your number after you
Yeah,
for
he did.
a while.
He did. Yeah, but
Same position too.
Tackle. Yeah, I was. What do you call it? He also played guard. I was asked that same question many years ago. They said, "Hey, Bob, look at the salary that these guys are getting. My God, into the billions. These are women like you in the Hall of Fame and everything. What do you think that you would make now?" And I said, "Well, probably now I'd make maybe 100,000." They said, "What do you mean 100,000?"
100,000. That's way less than the minimum.
I said, "Wait a minute, 100,000." They said, "Yeah, but you have to realize I'm 75 years old."
That's the old line from the Ty Cobb.
That's a good one, though. That's a good one. Well, you played at Kezar Stadium, which that's the first time I ever went to a pro football game. Kezar Stadium, which sits in the middle, right on the edge of Golden Gate Park.
Right.
And you played your high school football there and college football there too?
Yeah, did you go to Poly right across the street?
Went to Poly right across the street. Went to USF up on the hill. That was our stadium, and in fact, and then the 49ers in 2001 they renamed the field. They call it Bob St. Clair Field now.
That's sweet. That's the way it should be.
How does it work, Bob? I mean, do you get recruited by USF coming out of Poly, or do you just figure, well, I guess I'm going to USF now?
Yeah, no, I got recruited.
Okay.
They came and asked me and all that.
Well, the scouting is different than it is.
So I figured, that I would get an allowance for living off campus, and they would housing allowance. And, so I could have gone to Stanford.
Because I guess the scouting is so much different now than it was back then. Because back then, like Ohio State wouldn't really know about you. Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, little known fact. I mean, those West Coast Conference schools, when they had football, they're really good. Yeah. Did you know that the character that played Duke Lakella on the old Hawaii 5-0 series, Herman Whitmer, he was an All-American running back at St. Mary's.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy smoke, that's like Carl Weathers, right? Played for the Raiders, in Rocky movies.
And Bob St. Clair almost became
Tarzan.
There you go.
Yeah. Excellent.
Great stuff.
All right. Well, Bob, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Econ 101. We'll have to have you on again sometime.
Yeah, I'll tell you a few more stories when we get together. So I'm not on the air. That you'd like them.
Yeah.
It's stuff we can't tell with the kids listening, right?
Yeah.
and keep the women and the children away from this stuff.
Well, this one was pretty clean, so they can listen to this one.
Yeah, Bob, we'll see you down the road probably at another 49er function as Levi's Stadium is due to open up pretty soon.
Yeah, I've got a one statue there they made of me with and we reproduced the uniform.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, did they put your teeth back in? All right, Bob, thanks again for joining us.
Okay, it's a pleasure. Go Niners.
There you
go.
All right, man.
That's awesome. Was he 83 years old?
83 years old.
Sounds, like he's 53.
It's hard to believe he retired 50 years ago. And I remember 1964 because he was 33, 34. That's when players usually retire if they have a long career.
Well, yeah, because they get the crap beat out of them.
They do.
The referees don't protect them like they do now.
He's doing okay, For a guy 83 years old, a lot of these guys, you're walking around at the age of 60, like my age, and they're like, well, what? What did you say?
Oh, yeah.
Had political office, was mayor of Daly City.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, guys, last trivia question commercial break here. We're talking about rookies of the year, baseball rookies of the year. Which team dominated the Major League Baseball in the 1990s by having 5 Rookie of the Year award winners? the first 3 emails with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to this question. Which team dominated Major League Baseball in the 1990s by having 5 Rookie of the Year award winners? Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back with some closing comments.
It was the Dodgers, wasn't it?
Could be the Oakland A's.
Well, I know the
a
A's
bunch
had,
of them.
well, they had
The A's had 3 of them in a row.
3 in a row, but that was 2 of them in the late 80s. Walt Weiss.
Actually, 3. Well, it was Canseco, McGuire,
wasn't
Weiss.
Houston
Yeah.
Street was one. Ben Grieve was one.
Oh,
Todd
no, he wasn't one. But I do remember the 2 that you're talking. The 2 of those guys you mentioned that were in the 80s, late 80s. I mean, Mark McGuire was 87. Canseco was 86.
And Walt Weiss was 88.
Yeah. I think it was the Dodgers. Because I think Piazza
The
was
Dodgers.
The Dodgers. Yeah, I think it was the Dodgers. I think Todd Hollingsworth was one, and Piazza. I can't remember. That's so it's funny.
5 in the 1990s. Wow.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was the Dodgers. Oh well. Wasn't the Giants, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They've had their share of them though.
Okay.
Oh boy, and I'm walking around on fumes today with this morning shift.
Oh man, I got nothing. Dude, I had a fundraiser. I had a fundraiser at Crow Canyon. Left the house at 6:30 in the morning. I got back at 9:30 last night.
Oh.
And
Jesus,
and I hosted one hole. It was a par 3 hole, and I only left twice. Once for a quick break for lunch, and once when I went to the banquet reception. Other than that, I played that hole at least 50 times. I was playing with groups that were coming through.
Oh.
So I finished with one group on the green, hosted back and played with the next group.
How many holes in one did you get?
Well, there were a lot of net ones in it because the deal was if you let me play with you, you got a stroke off your scorecard. But you had to contribute to the tournament. I raised $785 in the morning flight and $708 in the afternoon flight.
Not bad.
Yeah, so I earned a lot of money on that one hole.
Wow.
Man, I can imagine being exhausted.
Yeah,
like you said, running on fumes.
Well, this morning shift, I can't complain. I'm doing it just for a week, but it throws your body. Because you wake up at 3:30, it's not.
Not normal.
Yeah.
I woke up at 6:15. Don't I get any credit for that?
I took my nap.
Not if you get to go back to bed.
Yeah. I tried to go to bed at 8:30 last night. My wife and daughter are up talking, and I got the lights on.
I can't go to bed that early. I don't care how late I have to stay. Early in the morning, get up at 2
the
a.m.
sun's still out. It's just
it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
All right, let's finish up here. Now, Eva bought us some Comforts.
Oh,
Chicken Caesar salad.
Great.
You ever had that?
Love Comforts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Comforts are
That's
good.
great,
Good quality.
Let's get I'll take you guys to
My
some
wife's
food next
favorite
time.
place.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown, your host. Vern Glenn, co-host. Bruce McCallum, co-host. All right, here's our last commercial break trivia question. Which team dominated Major League Baseball in the 1990s by having 5 Rookie of the Year award winners?
Well, they didn't win the World Series, but I think it was the Dodgers.
The Dodgers, that is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, that's right.
We
Okay.
gotta have a bell.
Who were the guys?
Okay. In 1992, Eric Karros. In 1993, Mike Piazza.
Right.
In 1994, Raul Mondesi.
Oh, yes.
1995, Hideo Nomo. And 1996, they had them all in a row.
Right.
Todd Hollingsworth.
Todd Hollingsworth. There you go.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and they did not win. Well, they did go to the playoffs a few of those years, but they did not win a pennant.
It's a strong farm system,
Yeah.
boy. Crank that out.
They have not gone to the World Series since 1988 when they won it with Oral Hershiser and Kirk Gibson and stunned the Oakland A's. So
Yeah.
maybe this year they'll return.
Speaking of the Oakland A's, I mean, can we give some love to
Yeah.
Yoenis Cespedes
Oh,
to go in there and defend his home run derby title?
Not only that, 6 players in the All-Star game, and if you want to include Jeff Samardzija, 7, even though he was selected as
And
the
last
last
one
He destroyed Todd Frazier, the Reds. And
Yeah,
I mean, it was like, as I was watching, I was like, and down goes Frazier.
Down goes Frazier. There you go.
And the last one apparently was, 450 feet? Or something? It was a monster.
And Yoenis Cespedes threw a strike from left field to home on the fly to nail a base runner earlier this year.
Major League leading 11 unassisted, 11 assisted putouts.
But I've never seen anybody do that on the fly.
Yeah,
at home
that
plate.
was. I remember
amazing.
watching. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
cartoon-like.
Thoughts for the day. There's a basketball court on the top floor of the U.S. Supreme Court building. It's known as the highest court in the land.
Oh.
Now, can you imagine Ruth Bader Ginsburg having a one-on-one with Clarence Thomas I mean, why is there a basketball court up there?
I guess they have to relax sometime, you know? I don't know.
Could you imagine having to settle stuff? Hey, first one to 11.
Yeah.
The guy's guilty.
Let's play horse.
Let's
Yeah.
play horse, I was
Yeah.
going to say, yeah.
Okay, and Wilt Chamberlain never fouled out of a game. We all know that, right?
I did not know that.
And my question is, does that mean he wasn't aggressive enough?
Maybe
I don't think so.
Maybe the refs just looked the other way, you know?
Very possibly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, maybe looked up at him. When,
very scary guy.
well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and giving away free vacations for answering sports trivia questions. And I think our guest is going to be Jim Otto, former NFL.
00.
00.
Anybody wear 00? Nobody.
I don't think anybody
Okay,
does.
thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.